On today's Locked On Twins, we'll take a look at a staple of this time of year, which is looking at spring training position battles and if the Twins actually have any, because this is pretty much a settled roster. We'll have some news and notes and a lot of fun along the way. This is Locked On Twins.
You are Locked On Twins, your daily Minnesota Twins podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello again, and welcome back to Locked On Twins. I'm your host, Brandon Ward, and you can unfollow me on Twitter at Brandon_WARNE. And Mr. Dave Brown joining me at Answer Dave Brown on the tweets. How are we doing this evening, Dave Brown?
Hey, Brandon. We're doing good. We're trucking along. We're getting real close to mini Korea opening day, and then not long after that, we'll have big opening day.
Yeah, so trending toward that here, just a little over 2 weeks away, and it's going to be a whole heap of fun. Dodgers and remind me again, Padres. So that should be terrific. I think the only way it could be better is if it was Dodgers Giants, but either way, it should be great. Thanks for making Locked On Twins your first listen every day. You can find us wherever you get your podcasts for free and also on YouTube. We love hanging out with you guys on YouTube. Hit link. What am I talking about? Like, subscribe, thumbs up, all that good stuff. Hit the link to give us a like. Maybe that's what I was doing, was kind of like one of those swaps there.
That's exactly what you were doing.
Yep.
You know what you're doing. You're very astute about things.
And again, too, please be active in the comments with our live releases at 11 p.m. We love to hear from you, and it's great to see the comments that roll in after, too. You guys have been just great. We've had a great couple of months here, so we're really excited to roll into the regular season. Today's episode is brought to you by PrizePicks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnMLB and use the code LockedOnMLB, all lowercase, for a first deposit match up to $100. Dave, Twins fall 5-4 to the Cardinals. Couple different news and notes to get into. Chris Paddock, who I was actually telling you I got in a fantasy baseball draft recently, gave the Twins 2 2/3 innings, hit his pitch limit, leaves the game, a few runs score after, but 3 earned runs. Did give up a home run to Paul Goldschmidt. Not a lot of shame in that. Miles Michaelis on the bump against the Twins gives up 1 earned run. He might, though. Michaelis, I know that they've already named the opening day starter for the Reds. Sorry, not Reds. The guys who wear red. That's the Cardinals. Sonny Gray may not be able to make that start. Sonny Gray, a former Red. I can kind of figure out where my wheels are turning and spinning simultaneously. So there's a chance that the Twins were facing the opening day starter. It could be Michaelis, could be Kyle Gibson. And honestly, it wouldn't shock me if it was Lance Lynn, the whole nostalgia bit there. But Twins, again, it's a loss, big deal. But Jose Miranda goes 2 for 3. Alex Kirilloff with a homer. The weird thing is, so the Twins strike out 3 batters on the entire day, 2 by Chris Paddock, and then none again until the final inning with Jordan Balazovic, who has gotten hit pretty hard this spring. Just kind of a weird game overall, but again, spring training is allowed to be weird. We're not expecting anything too ordinary at this point of the season.
It's hard to know, what any of those details mean, just because of all the different odd circumstances of spring training. The first thing I noticed about Paddock's start today that I hadn't really noticed before, and maybe he was dressed differently, but he had these great socks, these great hose on, and they reminded me of old school. I don't know if the Twins have had red as a secondary color, at least for a long time. I think they're trying to play that up a little bit with the recent iteration of their home uniforms. But he had these blue and red socks that were really cool, and they were old school looking with the stirrups, and Paddock's got huge legs, and it just it got me fired up because you can look good And it's better to pitch good, but if you don't look good too, something seems off kilter. So Paddock, to me, that's been a great sign. Just steady progress on his part. We've been a little bit disappointed in things like DeSclafani being delayed by an elbow, and uh, you know, Paddock. It's good for peace of mind, if nothing else, that he's on, and his Sox game is on too.
Yeah, what did they wear back in the day? It was wasn't it like sterile socks and then stirrups on the outside? It was two separate things.
Yeah.
What did they call them? I can't remember what they called this inner sock.
They call them not sterile. They call them sanitary.
Sanitary.
Which is a strange word, but that's what they use.
Yeah. When I first started playing organized ball, this is going to make you laugh. I didn't start playing until I was 12. I was kind of a yard ball. I was kind of a street ball, but baseball kind of kid. And
very similar histories, you and I there. It's odd.
Yeah.
Funny.
So we had I don't even know how to describe the green. Probably Kelly green with white lettering and then yellow piping. So our situation with the Sox was how did it go? I think it was yellow socks with bright green stirrups, and they were the two separate things where you yank them all the way up, and
Right.
it just kind of takes me back when I see guys wear different socks. That those were the days back when things didn't hurt every time you moved.
I was thinking about how it's difficult. I'm a little older than you, and it's it definitely I can feel it in my parts. And it sounds like you had similar, and maybe they still do it. I try not to watch the A's right now because they upset me in many ways. But the A's have a history of having socks like that, where they'd go with the gold or the yellow sanitary hose, and then green or whatever on the outside, the Kelly green sometimes. And I think that's a good look. And I don't know, I like little details like that. It obviously, like I said, it's more important how people pitch, but I just get a sense of confidence when you're going out there and he's got the big, hey, look at my calves kind of feel. I have confidence in my body, and I like that about a man.
Well, and watching him go about his business and the bits where we've seen him talk, he seems confident in his recovery. He seems confident in his stuff. Interestingly enough, too, there was a tweet, and I see if I have it still pulled up here because it's probably not. No, of course not. But it was a list of, there we go, a list of pitchers who've increased four-seam velo this spring from John Anderson. It's just JONPGH. But anyway, fantasy baseball projection guy. And he has Kyle Freeland, Simeon Woods Richardson, Bailey Ober, AJ Smith Shaver. I've never learned how to say that. Am I saying that correctly?
I believe so. At least the AJ Smith part.
Oh, yeah. Matt Manning, Jack Flaherty, Cole Irvin, Tariq Skubal, Carl Kaufman, and Jorge Alcala. Interesting thing about Alcala, I did have a friend reach out and say that he doesn't think, he disagreed with my thought that Alcala is probably ticketed for St. Paul to start the season. And his contention was, hey, Josh Stalmont has an option. And I'm like, I don't see it. I think Stalmont signed with this team to be in the big leagues. Alcala heads to St. Paul. But it's good to see him getting some love, although this Mr. John Anderson calls him a starter, which, man, if he threw that hard and was a starter, we'd be all pretty geeked. But, again, we had an episode not that long ago said Twins pitchers were throwing gas, and it's nice to see the rubber meet the road with some data in addition to you and me just saying things.
Better than, because we're going to do that anyway. But better than to throw gas than throw gas on the fire or whatever and like make a big explosion and have everything go horribly wrong. So, Stalmont not making the team, not impossible from maybe just depending on how the next 2 weeks go. I could see an extended spring training kind of a thing, or from that standpoint, I don't know that they would have to use an option for something like that, but I can't. I sort of agree with you. I'm like, I don't know if they would do him dirty like that. He would have to be pretty bad.
Well,
to do that, and they might disguise that as an injury if they feel like he's not ready.
yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be hard to do with any question of ethics. So, yeah, it wouldn't be that hard to overcome that hurdle if it is such a thing. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we will talk about the potential position battles that the Twins are or are not having. And we've got another big injury from a former AL Central pitcher we'll talk about, and whatever else strikes our fancy. But first, a word from PrizePicks. PrizePicks is North America's largest daily fantasy sports platform. It's the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports because it's just you against the numbers. Instead of battling thousands of other players like you might elsewhere, you pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. And it depends on if you are risk averse, not risk reverse. We're not playing Uno here. If you're risk averse or if you like to be a little bit more of a risk taker, all of those options are available to you on a fun new feature called Demons and Goblins. Demon picks are marked in red and they're scarier, but they accelerate your heartbeat because you can win big money, as in 100 times your money. So if you bet $10, got $1,000 coming in. But if you're more cautious, if you're just like me, you can always choose a goblin pick marked green because it's designed to keep you in the green and allow you to land more consistent victories, but the payout is less. So your chances of keeping your winning streak going are higher. But again, the payouts are not as volatile and as exciting. But if you're into the NBA, you can pick more than or less than on everything from 3-pointers made to turnovers committed. And for spring training baseball, if you really want to get yourself set up for the season, because everybody's in training right now, you can pick more than or less than on pitcher strikeouts, first inning runs, and all that sort of stuff. So download the app today. Enter code LOCKEDONMLB. That's all one word and lowercase. And you get a first deposit match up to $100. Again, that's code LOCKEDONMLB. All one word, all lowercase letters at PrizePicks. And again, you get that first deposit match up to $100. Join PrizePicks today. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. It's hard to say like the alliteration of P's over and over again. So I think I find myself doing a little bit of a Porky Pig, which irony has that is also Porky Pig. Yeah, just trying to feel like I need to justify why I'm stumbling over my words a little bit because that was embarrassing. Dave's muted again.
See, you talk about like not speaking well or whatever, and then I left my mic muted. So, everybody's making mistakes. It's spring training for everybody.
Yep.
There's
Really
a movie, That Thing You Do, Tom Hanks directed, about the pretend band from the 60s. And
I feel like
there's
it
a
was
scene
on TBS once a week when I was growing up, and like the DirecTV, because I didn't have DirecTV growing up or Dish or whatever, but it was always showing up as coming up soon, That Thing You Do. And I'm just like, is this a good movie or why is it on every 3 days here?
Well, did you watch it?
No.
Oh, it's a good movie. It's fun.
Yeah.
It was fun for being the mid 90s. And I think Tom Hanks' first directorial debut that kind of got him in the mood for making, I mean, he didn't direct most of that stuff, but like Band of Brothers and being a producer of films, and kind of a good jumping off point for him. But there is a scene in that movie, you're talking about your peas and your Porky Pig, and there's a scene with I can't remember, doggone it, I can't remember the actor's name, but he plays a character who warms up a crowd in Pittsburgh with a lot of peas in Pittsburgh, and this is the place. And so, I mean, if I could find that clip for you, I guarantee you, if you practice with it, then the next time you're not going to be messing up your peas.
Yeah, it's a pretty star-studded cast. Pretty good cast. I'm gonna have to check that out.
Kevin, what's his name? I don't know. He's a funny actor. He's a comic, and he does a great William Shatner. Everybody knows him. He's in The Usual Suspects. Kevin Pollak. Sam Weinberg in
You got it.
A Few Good Men. So,
and
he plays, I can't remember the boss something or other from Pittsburgh. He's like the local DJ and host of the variety show and stuff. And pickled
Well,
Pittsburgh
nice.
Pirates.
I was looking at roster resource. Love roster resource, and something kind of amazing with this Twins projected starting lineup. They have 2 former number 1 overall picks, a number 2 overall pick, a first round 15th pick, a first round 39th pick, a second round 59th pick, an 18th round 539, and 2 amateur free agents. Now, 6 players who were first or second round, 3 who were top 2 picks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of the 9 originally signed as Twins. I don't know. I mean, for all the grief that I think Twins fans like to say, oh, where's the pitching pipeline, Falvey? Which, if you pay any attention at all, it's actually there. Their hitting development has been quite good. Like, the only 2 players on the current active roster who are projected to be regulars against righties, Carlos Santana and Carlos Correa. It's a Carlos thing.
Two Charlies. Those Charlies.
By the way, did you know Warren Sapp's middle name is Carlos?
I didn't know that.
I learned that on a podcast this week. He went by Carlos in high school.
Carlos Sapp?
Yep, the more you know.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if any of the Twins Carloses they have a middle name of Warren. I doubt it. But or that would be a funny coincidence.
Yeah, right? So anyhow, though, it found it to be remarkable consistency of like top picks. And then, the free agents, the international free agents can kind of be tricky because especially with Santana back in 2004, it was kind of like the wild, wild west back then when he signed with, I think, the Dodgers. Was he traded for Casey Blake? I think that was the case.
I'm nodding my head because I was coughing, but yes.
Hey, you unmuted. That's all we ask for. Former Twins legend.
I'm a professional. I'm a professional.
What's
something.
Oh,
I'm a professional. I was just saying, yeah, I unmuted, of course.
Oh, well, great. Well, anyhow, the starting lineup is ironclad. Like, really no question about who's going to be in there every single day. Bench, pretty much the same. The only bench player on the projected bench with any options, is Willie Castro, who's not going anywhere. Maybe that could change during the season if he slumps. But for the rotation, no real. Joe Ryan has 3 options, but if Joe Ryan goes down to the minors, something has very seriously gone wrong.
Yeah.
Billy Ober, same deal there. On the bullpen side, Justin Topa has 2 options, but he's 33 years old. Stelmont has 1. I think this is maybe the first spring training I can remember for not only the Twins, but I don't know if maybe any team where there really is not a position up for grabs, even on the bench or in the bullpen.
Well, it goes back to points that we've made before about, and you were just talking about the homegrown aspect of people in the lineup and how that's been kind of a good pipeline for things. And they've made a lot of moves to kind of reinforce like smaller moves. The huge free agents, they haven't been players for them. But going back to people like Jay Jackson, no qualms about giving him a major league contract and bringing in Stalmont, who might have an option, but unless there's a physical reason, he's probably going with the team. And if he's not, then maybe Alcala is. But that's maybe the one guy about who there's some flexibility there just because of coming off of the thoracic outlet syndrome surgery. Going out and getting Okert and Topa is part of the Jorge Polanco deal, shoring things up. The Twins have gone for depth. They went with a big free agent a couple years ago with Correa, and repeated that. And they're very deep. They're very full, and and they still have guys who are they have more major league quality players than they have spots for them. And that is a great testament to what the front office is doing.
Yep. Great problem to have. And Alcala has been hurt too. So, I mean, pretty much
Sure.
anything you say about if Stalmont's injury problems crop up, same thing true with Alcala. And again, like when we say position battles, if someone gets hurt, that's not a position battle that ends
Right.
up. So, I mean, it is about the most settled 26 or dating back to when I started watching baseball 25-man roster battles. This is about the most settled roster that I've seen now, just a couple weeks into playing games and all that. Let's take a quick second. We'll give some love to our friends at eBay Motors. When we come back, a little more clarity on the Michael Lorenzen market. We've got a
Your
injury.
guy.
Yeah, my guy, right? Injury that might cost a newly signed free agent his entire season. And we'll see what else we get into. We'll have some fun. But first, eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience are what bring home the winning trophy and also what keeps your ride alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance, from superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, style, performance, you name it, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million, that's right, 122 million parts for your number one ride, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay's guaranteed fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time, or you get your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you are burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. Keep your ride alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay guaranteed fit only available to U.S. customers. All right, we're coming down the home stretch, and the Michael Lorenzen marketplace, it appears, is held up because he's looking for a 2-year deal, which to me, and that's per Ken Rosenthal of The Athletic, the odds of getting a 2-year deal at this point of the spring are virtually nil, right?
Well, for him, yes.
Yeah, yeah, not for Blake Snell. But it'd be like if
And maybe for Blake Snell, probably, I don't know, Jordan Montgomery, I would doubt, but yeah. Yeah.
JD Martinez, if he said I want a 2-year deal, people are like, what are you talking about, man? Or Michael A. Taylor, like, no, you're not getting multi-years in March. It's not likely unless you are the top of the top.
And that is, I'm sure Marvin Miller is, I don't know if he's rolling over in his grave, but he's very uncomfortable right now. I think some of the things that the Players Association has agreed to over the years have contributed to this. And, I don't know how they walk all that back, but it's, I'm not sure who Lorenzen's agent is, but hey, good luck getting 2 years right now at this point. I agree with you. I don't see that as realistic.
Well, what CAA Sports is what Spotrac, whatever, says. So, very, very ambiguous. CAA Sports, sort of not one single person necessarily or somebody there, but either way, yeah, Godspeed to that agent or agency. Lucas Giolito, partially torn UCL and flexor strain, season in question per Jeff Passan, kind of like the first bit of news that broke this morning. What was strange was like 5 minutes before it was like, oh no, Red Sox skeptical, he'll be ready to start the season. And then Passan comes in like Randy Savage dropping an elbow that his season is in question. Boy, what a tough break for him, but also the Red Sox. Like, the Red Sox needed a lot to go right, and this is not great. He'll now obviously opt in next year because he's not going to have any reason not to. There's a very real chance that the Red Sox will get almost nothing out of this 2-year deal.
I'm glad for Lucas that he's at least got the security to, he's going to worry enough about his own future and his next deal and where all that stuff comes from, but he doesn't have to worry. He can use the Red Sox facilities, and maybe he'll pitch at some point next year. We don't know with these kinds of injuries. They seem to, there's kind of a range, and maybe mid-season, 2025. I don't know. But I don't feel bad. I feel bad for. Do I feel bad for Red Sox fans? I mean, that's hard to say, but
Yeah.
they've had so much success recently, and the Red Sox, as far as ownership and putting the team together, you want to talk about what's a good phrase? Half measures, doing just enough to keep people off your booty about, why aren't you spending more? Why aren't you competing? Complaining about, all the other interests of owner John Henry that aren't the Red Sox and where he's got his focus.
Hmm.
Um, it, it serves them right to. I mean, they should have signed Jordan Montgomery a long time ago,
Yep.
and then that is even short of what the Red Sox should do to be competing. They're they
Before, yeah, yeah.
they're
Before,
just they're trying to they're trading on their history, their recent history of winning, and
yep.
just people they know that people are addicted to the Red Sox, and maybe they'll cut back on going to games, but the people they're going to be hanging around anyway, and they're just coasting right now. The Red Sox, as far as the people who are running the team, deserve everything they get in a bad way.
Reminds me of watching Parks and Rec last night, and Ron says, "Don't half-ass two things, whole-ass one thing," and they're not doing that right now. I apologize if "ass" is not nice to say on the air, but
Let's try and keep it under PG-13, please.
keep it classy. Let's keep it classy. So yeah, but now, like the idea that this would somehow open them up to signing those guys, I think it makes it more likely they're going to do another half measure and sign Lorenzen. Throw a 1-year deal at
Please,
him for
let's get Michael Lorenzen a job. I don't know about 2 years either, but
no. I mean, like 1 year and
yeah,
10, 12 million bucks more than he made last year.
maybe.
But I mean, I could see him getting 7 or 8, honestly. But
It makes me uncomfortable to read about what Kenley Jansen is feeling right now. He's like, even before this Giolito injury, the stories about with Jansen are all about how he's just trying to. He almost doesn't even try to put on a good face about what the situation is. So going to the Red Sox is not, and how the Red Sox have gone about their business. Like ever since they got him, pretty much the timeline is. I don't know if it's a coincidence or he did a
yeah,
pivot. Henry did a pivot or what, but ever since they got Kenley Jansen, that they've gone back into this kind of semi austerity mode and crying poor and all that
well,
jazz.
when you come up with the Dodgers, like you kind of have a standard of what
Right.
baseball your expectations are. It reminds me though a little of wasn't Devin Williams supremely ticked when the Brewers traded Josh Hader and Taylor Rogers came back and Rogers was not very good for them. But I feel like it's the same kind of deal where it's like it just feels like you're in limbo. You just want your team to do something, anything to show that they care, and instead it's getting treated like a modern day newspaper.
Yeah. 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 Let's liquidate it and sell it off for parts.
Yeah.
And yeah, so Ken Jansen is just kind of waiting for when the Red Sox make the move to trade him and I kind of wondered why they signed Lucas Giolito in the first place if that was going to be the end all be all of their
Right.
offseason moves. So it's just it is it I mean, we're guessing as to what John Henry is thinking, but it sure seems like he doesn't want to commit to. He certainly doesn't want to commit to spending like how the Red Sox can or should to compete or have to.
Right.
And he's just kind of in between right now. There's a Kenley's in limbo, and the Red Sox are kind of too. It's but they've also had good times in their history, so I don't feel too bad about it. I scorn them.
Well, no, justifiably so. So we glossed over Sonny Gray, probably missing his opening day start. Another former Twin we'll be keeping an eye on. Jorge Polanco goes 2 for 2 with a double, 400 in early action with the Mariners. How do you feel just now that you've got a couple months of surveying the land of how Twins fans grieve? And again, like Jorge Polanco, 15 years in the organization and all that. How do you think his season is going to be watched by Twins fans? Because like with Luis Ariz, there was some lamentation, but Pablo Lopez was really dang good. With Polanco, I'm not really sure how it's going to work, because there's like 4 different data points in players that are, 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 4 different data points in players that part of that deal on the Twins side now versus Polanco, who might be one and done with the Mariners, probably 2 years, but maybe one and done.
The Pablo Lopez deal, it was kind of a little bit of a roller coaster, it seemed. He was fine. He was good. He was solid. And probably not performing that differently than he ended up doing. But with Arise hitting 400 for a couple of months there or whatever it was, and people were kind of worried about it, and Julian hadn't burst through yet. And so there was, but Polanco's a guy that the people have missed. They took a liking to him. He was a guy that came up through the organization, been there forever, like you said. And they're gonna, I think, look back. I think they're going to be happy for him if the Mariners are competing and he's doing well. But they're not going to miss him from the standpoint of, oh, I wish we had him, because I think the Twins are covered. They're covered at second base anyway, and they're covered with leadership and even homegrown kind of players. So I think that's how it'll be a happy remembrance of Polanco, not so much a rueful one or a wistful one.
I still can't believe the Twins got more than Pablo Lopez for Luis Arise. Like, that to me just is bananas.
Yeah. Well, they didn't get any bananas, but you mean figuratively speaking?
No, but just getting the prospect.
Prospect too. Yeah.
Great. Yeah. Well, I still wonder if they're going to strike a deal with Miami again in the semi-near future, but we'll have to wait and find out. Again, thanks, though, everyone, for hanging out with us for Locked On Twins. We really enjoy you guys. Like, subscribe, follow us on socials, all that fun stuff. And again,
come up to us on the street.
Yep. I don't get out much. So if you see me in the street, it's probably something unusual, but definitely say hi. Anyway, thanks for hanging out with us, and we'll see you tomorrow night.